Recorded live in New York City, the writing capital of the world. Welcome to the Virtual Writers Room with Israel Savage.
Thanks everybody. I'm Israel Savage, and I'm so happy to talk to you today about how to get rid of writer's block forever. Now, if this is something you've encountered, you know it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to stare at a blank computer screen or to sit in front of an empty page, tapping your pencil on your desk. It doesn't feel good to be stuck. And so one of the things that we'll talk about today is what you can do so that you never have to have that feeling again when it comes to your writing. But before we do that, there are a couple of concepts that I want to remind you of. And one of those is that objects in motion tend to stay in motion, and objects at rest tend to stay at rest. Now, this is a principle from physics that we learned years ago in school, but it still works and applies. It's a law that never changes, and it doesn't just apply to our outside world, it also applies to our internal world. Another way to say that is that if you never disengage, you never have to engage. If you never stop the flow, you never have to figure out how to find the flow, how to get in the flow, how to start the flow. And part of our work as writers is to realize that this creative flow, it's always coming to us. You know, at In Studios, we often are reminding our writers that no idea is that precious. We have this idea of scarcity, like we have to hold on to our ideas. But really, it's because we believe that it's possible that we would run out of ideas. It's a scarcity mentality. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good because it's not true. You have an unlimited supply of creativity, of creative energy, always flowing to you, always flowing. But we can stand in the way of the flow. I think the term writer's block is aptly named because there is a block happening. There would not be a disturbance in the force, a restriction in the flow, if it wasn't for the writer. In other words, we get in our own way. We get in our own way with judgment, with criticism, with doubt. Oh, it's not good enough. Oh, it's not this. So there are a few things that I want to look at today as we talk about writer's block, what it is and how to get rid of it forever. I'm going to give you something that you can do. Only takes 2 minutes a day that will cure your what you call writer's block forever. And we'll talk about that in just a second. One of the main reasons that writer's block exists is that we are trying to do the impossible. What I mean by that is we are attempting to write and edit at the same time. You can't do it. Just like you can't act and direct at the same time. You have to write, put on your writer's hat, sit down, write from your heart, and let it spill onto the page with no judgment, no criticism. Just get it out there. In essence, we need to bypass our brains. And then you take a breather, come back, put on your editor's hat, and look at what you got. Move things around. Discover what's happening in what you've just written. One of the best ways to train yourself in this habit is to write for 2 minutes a day. Just 2 minutes a day. But here's the trick. You want to keep your pen moving for 2 minutes, and you can definitely write for longer than that if you feel inspired. But at least 2 minutes. Keep your pen moving across the page. And that is what winning looks like with this exercise. I don't want your pen to stop. I don't want you to think about what you should write. Just spill things onto the page. And if you can't think of something to write, simply write, I know exactly what to write. I'm a writer, and writers write, I know exactly what to write. Just write that over and over. The idea here is that you do bypass your brain and you don't give yourself an opportunity to critique. You don't give yourself an opportunity to judge what's being written. Again, winning in this exercise is simply keeping your pen moving without stopping for 2 minutes. Now, there's a couple of things that I find will help you form any successful habit and make it a part of your routine. And these things that I utilize often in my life will definitely help you with writing consistently each day, writing for 2 minutes each day. And they are these. Number one, try linking. So if there's something you already do every day, like brush your teeth, write immediately after you brush your teeth or immediately before. Link whatever habit that you want to cultivate in your life to something you're already doing, something you do every day. Number two, success begins the day before, the night before. And so you want to make sure all of your materials are in place wherever you decide to write. Make sure that your materials are there. So if you're going to write in a notebook with a pen, use the same notebook and make sure that notebook is beside your bed if you plan to write before you get up each day. That's what I do. I write for 2 minutes before I even get out of bed. I roll over, grab my notebook, and start writing. But whatever you do, have your materials ready to go. I can tell you that there was a morning, I had this really great flow going with going to the gym. And what helped me each morning go to the gym was I left my gym bag with everything I needed packed the night before in the same spot. Well, my wife moved my stuff one day and it made it so much harder for me to get out the door. All right, and so let's make things easier on ourselves. Let's pre-pave for success for the next day by getting all of our materials together the night before. Number three, you want to pick the same time and place to do this activity each day. Be honest with yourself about where you can do it and when you can do it. But pick something. Again, if you're linking to brushing your teeth or if you're linking to getting up in the morning, then your time and place is taken care of. But really think that through and pick a consistent time and place. It'll make it so much easier for you. You won't have to think about where you're going to do this or when you're going to do this. So important. And lastly, if your goal is to do this every day, and that's definitely what I would suggest, and you miss a day, don't sweat it. Get right back up on the horse. Tomorrow is another day and jump right in. All right? If you miss 2 days, not a big deal, right? Remember this, the whole point of this exercise is to bypass our self-doubt and criticism and judgment. So don't judge yourself about how you do the exercise or don't do the exercise, right? That's not going to help you. It's not going to inspire you. No, it's okay. You learn just as much when you stumble as when you do things perfectly. In fact, I think you learn more. And so much of what we do as artists and as human beings is what many people call metacognition. In other words, you learn how you learn. And so if you've missed a few times this week, we'll take a look at why you missed a few times in a week. There's valuable information for you to mine there and for you to apply. And you will get better at better and better. And you'll learn more and more and more about what works for you as you go. That's a good thing. And keep in mind what worked for you last week may not work this week or 3 weeks ago or 10 years ago. And so you always have to keep reevaluating. But I can tell you this, having a system in place, a success system in place, like writing for 2 minutes a day, will allow you to engage again, will allow you to get that flow going in a space where there is no criticism, where there is no doubt. And that is the muscle that we are training, so that we can sit down in front of a computer, or we can sit in front of our notebook with our pen in hand and just let it happen. Allow the flow to happen. Trust that it's always there. It all begins with the simplest of exercises. Try it out and let me know how it goes. Remember, if you never pinch yourself off from the flow, then you'll never have to worry about getting momentum going in your writing again. In essence, writer's block will never be an issue for you again.
If you liked the video you just saw, click on the link below to find out more about our virtual sketch writers room. You'll interact with writers from around the world from the comfort of your living room while you advance your professional writing career. For more information, go to instudios-nyc.com/VWR and MakeTVwithIN. We'll see you there.